As the trade war rages on, the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S. continues to fall, with a 37% drop in July over the same month last year. And the latest statistics from the Pigeon River border show the number of Americans crossing into Canada dropped about 9% so far this summer. Thunder Bay's tourism officials say they saw that coming, but a spike in Canadians taking staycations has more than made up for it. Jonathan Wilson explains.
Statistics Canada keeps track of the number of passenger vehicles crossing into Canada at Pigeon River each month. And while the number of Canadians coming back home has been down significantly since February, the number of Americans crossing there was actually a bit higher throughout the springtime. But in both June and July, those numbers have dropped about 9%. City Tourism Manager Paul Pepe says some of their tourism partners have reported seeing higher numbers of American visitors this summer, but he says the overall drop was to be expected.
Watching what was going on across Canada, watching what's going on across North America, with traffic being consistently down of U.S. traffic across Canada since the beginning of the year, that gain that we were seeing up until the end of May largely evaporated in June and July. But we did see some declines of about 9% in U.S. traffic at Pigeon River in June and July. But that said, it's been more than made up by domestic travel. Canadians are getting out, they're exploring Canada more this year. They're staying in Canada on their vacation, so we're definitely have been benefiting from that. And the American numbers, as I said, being down a few points. We never like to see those numbers being down, but we were certainly anticipating that.
Pepe says the U.S. market usually only makes up around 20 to 23% of Thunder Bay's total visitors. He thinks there could be a number of factors leading to the drop in vehicles from the U.S. crossing at Pigeon River. But much like how many Canadians are pointing to the tariffs for their travel changes, he thinks some Americans are also being impacted by the trade war.
A lot of U.S. travelers are, watching their dollar. They're staying closer to home too. Their tariffs are having an impact on inflation for them, or they're wondering, about their job security, and so there's a lot of factors at play.
As Pepe mentioned, the number of Canadians traveling to Thunder Bay appears to be up considerably this summer, based on hotel occupancy rates and a big spike in visitors stopping at the Terry Fox Lookout Information Center.
So, Terry Fox is seeing tremendous traffic this year. In June, our visitors through the doors were up over 5,500 people over June of last year. That's a 41% increase over June 2024. So, the visitor center is as busy as always, and hotel occupancy to the end of June. We were just a little over 80% occupancy here in Thunder Bay in June, and that's up from 75% last year. So, we're seeing gains across other elements of our tourism sector that are still pointing to a healthy year overall.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.